Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Analyze, and in this tutorial I'm going to explain you the solutions for the code forces round 644 division 3. So we will be covering problems from A to F. So moving on to the first problem. So I hope most of you might have solved this. Still, for those who want solution for this, uh, we have to fit two small rectangles in a bigger square, but the area of the bigger square should be minimized as minimal as possible. So what would be the best technique to do this is we can stack up the two sides which have the lowest length, like if length and breadth are there, if the breadth is smaller, like in this case they have stacked up the breadths together, and they are taking the maximum as 2 into the breadth. Okay, and there are just two cases in this problem. If the length is greater than 2 times the breadth, or it's smaller than that. Okay, so when the length is even greater than 2 times the breadth, then even when we stack the two rectangles together on the breadth, we will get still a larger portion on the length side. So you will get this clear when you will see the code. And I have just taken a as the bigger one, where when the a was less than b, I've swapped them, and I have taken result is equals to max of a comma 2b, which is length comma 2 times the breadth, that when we have stacked the two rectangles, and when the length is greater than 2b, we will choose that as a solution. Moving on to the b problem, we have here honest coach. So in this problem you are given a bigger list of say n integers, and you have to divide it into two lists of any number of elements, and you have to minimize this particular expression. So what this expression says is you have to maximize the first you have to find the maximum element in the first list and the minimum element in the second list, take the absolute difference and minimize this value. So what to infer from this is the maximum of the first list should be as close as possible to the minimum of the second list. So what we'll do in the solution is we'll first sort the given array so that we can even think properly and in the right direction, and as well as we will find that we need this in the solution. So what we have is 1 2 3 4 6 in this one after sorting. Okay, so what you can do is decrease the difference, right? So you will choose, even if you choose just one element in the A list and take it as the maximum one, and you choose all of the elements in the second list, then also you can solve this problem, considering because the minimum element in the second list would be considered and all the elements greater than that won't be considered, right? So this is the basic concept of this problem, and what we will do is when to make this difference smaller, we will find two elements with the lowest difference. We'll append all the elements greater than small b in the b list, and we'll append all the elements smaller than the eighth element in the first list. Okay, so moving to the solution, we can see that this is quite easy one. So we'll first sort the array, and what we want to minimize the absolute difference between the a and b. So we will sort the array and find two elements which are closest. That's the only thing we have done here. So pairwise difference, minimizing the pairwise difference can be done by absolute of ai minus ai plus 1. So that's the second problem done. So moving on to the third one, we have similar pairs. So what this problem says is you need to find pairs such that either their difference is 1 or they have the same parity. So what the same parity means is either they both are odd or both of them are even or their difference is 1. So and it's given that n is even. Okay, so if you I'll explain problem little more. If you can see here, the solution they have told is 11, 12, 14, 16. So they have put all the even numbers on one side and the difference parity in one pair, and if we had more odd elements and even elements, they would have made pair on the left and right respectively. Okay, so in the second last one, 1, 6, 3, 5, 8, 10, we will count the total number of odd elements, we will count the total number of even elements, and we find that there are 3 odd elements and 3 even elements. So what we are told is the number of total elements is even. That means we know that one odd number plus another odd number is even, one even number plus another even number is also even, but no other condition is specified other than that. So we'll find if the number of even numbers and the number of odd numbers is even or odd. I'll explain this. Uh, Please be patient with this problem. It's a little bit confusing, but moving on, we'll see that we have counted the number of even integers and we have counted the number of odd integers here, right? So this would be a problem with complexity of over n square, and we have sorted the array. Okay, so what we'll do is I want I want that all the same parity ones, I don't want to bother about them, right? We don't want to bother about same parity ones. So what we'll do is we'll find the number of even numbers and the number of odd numbers, and if both of them are even, they will be they will be taken care in their own domain, like even and odd like that. Okay, rest there is another condition occurs when both of them are in both of the lists. We have one extra odd and we have one extra even number. So it simply means that we need to find one odd number and one even number such that their difference is 1. Cool. So if this condition is occurs and it is satisfied, then we have the solution as yes, otherwise no. So as simple as that, we have implemented it here. We have taken the difference, or we have sorted the array here, and we have taken the difference of the consecutive elements. If the difference is 1, then we have the answer is yes. Moving on to the D problem, buying shovels. Okay, so select DEF. So in this problem, we can find that there is this person who has K packages, like K promotional sets or whatever you can say, like he is giving in combo or something like that. So he has K types of packages of shovels, and each particular set contains some types of, like, the same type of shovels, and he wants to find a particular set of find a particular package. He wants to buy a particular package and achieve his need of n shovels. So if he if the number is 8 and and the k is 7, like you can see here. So what he will do is we have to minimize the number of total packages. So what he'll do is he will buy 2 packages of 4. So you have to make this clear that we have to focus on the package being the same. You don't want to like you chose one package of 7 length and you chose one package of 1 length. Okay, so this is not allowed. Package should be of the same size. So what we'll do is we'll we have to iterate over the values of I from 1 to k and find which one is the best suited. So how we are going to do is I'll explain in this solution. So again, a fairly simple problem, and this is just a thought process, don't mind. And I have taken the input of n and k, and I have initially made it as n, like the maximum number of package, like the maximum number of this thing, um, number of packages would be n if I chose a shovel one at a time, and like I is equals to 1 and n shovels are by. Okay, so I want to satisfy my need of n shovels, and I'll now iterate from 2 to less than equals to k, or when I have factors. Like, what do we have to do in this problem? We have to find the all the factors. So starting with this thing, as I represents the total number of packets of the type n by I. So here it's given that the type of packages refers to 1 to k, and I'm iterating over the number of packets which can be maximum of I square root of n or less than equals to k. So what I've done is, in this perspective, I have made it clear that with respect to the factors, we will check this as an analogy, as 4 into 2 is equals to 8. So 2 packets of 4 package, and simply like this, we will iterate over the ith number of packets of the category n by I. And when I'll find the solution, I'll just minimize it, and we'll uh, go through this problem. So moving on to the E part. So this is little bit confusing, but again an easy one. Take down. The division 3 round was like okay, so it was fairly easy this time, and generally they give a little bit harder problems, but this time it was fairly easy. So we, we have been given polygons with there is a ground, and we have been given a matrix and a set of cannons, two n cannons, n on the this side and on another side. And what we have to do is we want to find if they actually fought. So what the problem says is, you can read the problem once, and it says that the soldiers place cannons on every row and column, on the first row and the first column, and so there are two n cannons. And moving on, we have the collision has happened, he will keep on firing to the last slot. Okay, so this cannon one shoots to the last one, so it comes here. But again, if the cannon one shoots and it has occupied the last block, then it will come to the second last block. If this cannon shoots, then again there is a hurdle, so before that we'll stop. So we have been given a sequence of these events being happened or not. We have to identify that these events have been happened or just mimicked in a wrong way. Okay, so that's the whole problem, that we have to find patterns in this, that this pattern actually works or not. So what we'll do here is uh, we'll just take the input here and count the number of ones first. So ones means blockages. Okay, so if there are zero blockages, then absolutely like it's a valid pattern, right? So regardless of that, I'll print the solution. But otherwise, I'll check if one is positive, then I'll go in the main. This is the main part of the program, and uh, I'll uh, do this in O of n square, where I'll iterate through every cell and check if this slot has not been used. If this slot has not been used, I'll check if the previous slot has been used or not. Correct. Like I have to always use the last block, right? So if this particular exit block has not been used and the block before it is already shooted, so it means there is some dilemma that maybe it's the wrong place. Okay, until and unless the whole layer has been stacked up by the another coordinate, like if I am firing on the x direction and I find that a of x minus 1 has been filled before a of x, so I'll check if the whole column of a of x minus 1 is filled, so that he was maybe blocked and he couldn't reach the exit block, right? Like the new block, he couldn't reach here. As you can see here, he if this was empty, if this block is empty, then he can't reach here if this whole column or this thing is full. Okay, so I'll just iterate over this condition, and fortunately this is the solution. This is the main line. If the previous column had the next element, the below element is already occupied, it means that the previous row has been shooted first, and it acts as a kind of blockage. So with this strategy, we find it accepted, and moving on to the F solution. So here we have this problem spy string. So what it does is we are given set of t test cases in which uh, n strings of length m are given to us, and you can see that in this problem we are giving constraints n is equals to 1 to 10 and n is equals to 1 to 10, and in this stuff we find that the constraints are really low, so it means that we can actually apply brute force here, because 10 really doesn't make a count here, and if we even go 10 power 4, it means n square into m square, then also we will find a solution. So we'll just iterate over everything. I'll explain it in the code. So moving on, here the tag is also given brute force, or someone can do it with db also, strings constructed algorithm. So what we'll do is, here we have the code in front of us, and I'm making a matrix out of these inputs, like for example, if we have a b a c and z b a b, so we find that a and z are unequal. So if I chose a as the solution, so then I say to the second string that you have been you have done your deed here, and you have done one mistake and you can't repeat another mistake, as it is mentioned in the question that every string can only do one error. So rest of the idea is that the rest of the string of, the string with one error should be the result, or the result will be minus 1. So with that strategy we'll check that where is the first error, and after that, where if the further string is the final string and it matches everywhere. So I have the solution here, that I have iterated for all the elements, and if this element column wise I am checking, and if this element is not equals to the element below it, so it means I need to check for both of them, as in both of them one needs to be the solution from removing this element, and the substring from I plus 1 to the end would be checked. I'll pass into the function check here, where it will match if all the strings with the same column are equal to this one. Similarly for the another one, and if I find that this thing is it finds a solution, then I'll break. Like if it's same everywhere, then this is the final solution, and I'll come out of the loop again. uh, so the solution is done, and I'll explain the check function here, how it's checking. We are giving it one string and one vector, so it's the substring which is str, which has been given here to check if it's equal to all the elements in the particular matrix, and we have just checked it here, and if count is greater than equals to 2, means there is a misplaced element, then we'll return false, otherwise we'll return 2. So with this I end the tutorial for the solutions from A to F. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to Let's Analyze for more further updates and com competitive coding tutorials and data science projects. Thank you.